to, along with the breath. Breathing in, bud, breathing out, to. As he got more and more peaceful, the breath got more and more refined. Bud, to. But after the sun had gone down, that's the time the jungle animals come out. First of all, there were small animals. After a while, he started hearing the big animals. After a while, he started to hear a very big animal coming in his direction. Buddho changed to Buddho, 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 Buddho. That being, that animal, came even closer. And as it came closer, he could pick up the sound. That was a big animal. Buddho, 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 Buddho. And when it came even closer, he couldn't help but opening his eyes. And he saw about 10 meters in front of him this huge monk-eating tiger. And Buddho, Buddho, Buddho changed to tiger, 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 tiger. And that's where you lose your mindfulness. He forgot what he was doing. And before he noticed it, he was running away, saying, tiger, 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 tiger. Now, monks are not supposed to run. It's against our rules. You know why the Buddha made a rule that monks are not allowed to run? Because these robes of ours, they've got no buttons and no zips. So if you start running, things start falling off. But he wasn't really caring about his robes. He was caring about the tiger running after him. Tiger, tiger, tiger. And in a couple of kilometers it took to get into the village, first of all his robe slipped off, and it dragged behind him, and soon his outer robe was left, trailing along the path somewhere. And then, because of running so much, even his lower robe dropped off and trailed behind. And then this monk, who was not afraid of tigers, appeared in the village, shouting at the top of his voice, tiger, 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 tiger. And everything, including his fear, was very apparent for everybody to see. He had no clothes on at all. He was a naked monk who wasn't afraid of tigers. Now the point is, in that story, apparently that was a true story. That was told to me by Ajahn Brahm, one of the famous Thai forest monks. And of course, he became the monk who wasn't afraid of tigers, who lost all his robes, and woke everybody in the village, including the young girls and the old girls. When he was going, tiger, tiger, they looked out their windows and guess what they saw? But the point of the story was, he lost his mindfulness. Now, I forget where I started with tigers. Yeah, this was the other story about a person being chased by a tiger in the jungle. The tiger was catching up on him. And fortunately, at the last moment, he saw a well in the middle of the jungle. He had no choice. The tiger was almost upon him. So, out of desperation, he jumped into the well. But as soon as he jumped in, he realized he'd made a big mistake. That well was dry. And at the bottom of that well, there was a big black snake. Oh, yeah. So, just an automatic reaction, he grabbed to the side of the well. Unfortunately, he managed to grab hold of a root, a tree root which was poking through the side of the well. It broke his fall, but it also disturbed the snake underneath him. When he came to his senses, he was holding on to the root. He looked down, and the snake, having been disturbed, had raised its head, had opened its hood, and was trying to strike him at his feet. But his feet were just too high. The snake just couldn't reach him. That was lucky. And then he looked up. The tiger wouldn't give up that easy. The tiger was leaning over the well, trying to paw him. But his hand was just too low. The snake couldn't reach him. Now, if you think that's big trouble, listen to what happened next. When he came to his senses, with the tiger above him and the snake below him, he saw coming out of a hole in the side of the well 2 mice, a black mouse and a white mouse. And those mice started to chew on his root, making it thinner and thinner and thinner. He didn't have much time left. But another thing happened. Because the tiger was trying to paw him from above, the back of the tiger was rubbing against a tree, making it shake. On a branch of that tree was a bee's nest. Because it shook, the bee's nest was right above the well. Because it started shaking, honey started dripping into the well. And so he put out his tongue, and he tasted that honey. How delicious. And that was the end of the story. And the reason why that Buddhist story is one of my favorites is, number one, it showed what mindfulness is, enjoying the moment. Even though you've got a tiger up above you and a snake underneath you and the black and white mice signifying night and day change is actually chewing on your precarious hold on life. Every day you're getting older, closer to your death. Since you came here, you're 2 days closer to your funeral. And also, I like saying this is death meditation, mindfulness on death. I always, when I have an audience like this, I look at how many people are here. Maybe around 200, maybe 250 this evening. I'll do a quick calculation. And according to statistics, 3 of you will be dead by next year. Which 3 is it? And don't just look at the old ones. So, time is taking away, your precarious hold on life. So this man, a tiger above him, a snake underneath him, and the mice, day and night, were chewing away at his hold on life. But mindfulness grabbed the moment. What beautiful honey that is. Why is it that we worry so much about what's happening in the future? Why do we always worry about the past with guilt? Can't we let go of the past and future and be mindful in the present moment, enjoy the honey of now? All of you on retreat here. Isn't this wonderful when you're on retreat? You haven't got a husband to nag you. You haven't got a wife to nag you. You don't have to worry about your housework or your children. Isn't it beautiful being free? In the time of the Buddha, when a woman became a bhikkhuni, a nun, they used to say, it was one of their ways of talking, they'd say, when you become a nun, you give up the 3 crooked things. Many of the nuns wrote these beautiful poems when they were enlightened of how peaceful it is to get rid or to abandon the 3 crooked things. And you know what those 3 crooked things were in early Buddhism? The first crooked thing was the broom, signifying or symbolizing housework. When you became a nun, you didn't have any housework to do. Just like now, no housework. Oh, isn't it lovely? The second crooked thing was the ladle they used for the soup, for the curries, symbolizing cooking. All you women on this retreat don't have to cook anything. All you have to do is eat it. Isn't that wonderful? So you've given up the second crooked thing, which was the ladle. And the last crooked thing they gave up was the husband. Those were the three crooked things in Buddhism. Number 1, housework. Number 2, cooking. Number 3, the husband. Even in those days, they had a sense of humour. So now you're free. Who knows what's going to happen next? So enjoy every moment. That's called mindfulness. And anyway, even though that's life, sometimes life is like that. You don't know what's going to happen next. Sometimes it looks terrible. Sometimes it might be that, the tax man is knocking at your door because you haven't paid your taxes. Maybe you've got the cancer. Maybe you're about to die, become bankrupt, or whatever else has happened. Sometimes life looks like it's going to be terrible. It is like you've got a tiger above you and a snake underneath you, with nothing to do. When you're in a crisis like that, always remember to enjoy the honey of the moment. To enjoy this moment. Because who knows what is going to happen next. Now I'm going to pause in a moment because we've got a Venerable come. Venerable, do you want to take a seat? Do you want to take a seat, please, Venerable? Welcome here to my talk this evening. I'm sure there's a seat somewhere. You can take this one if you want to carry on the talk. Please come up. Got a chair somewhere or a seat? Very good. Here it goes. Welcome. Okay. Whichever side. Okay. Very good. Okay. Now let's get back to the well with the snake. Because the future is uncertain. When I heard that story, that's how I heard it. It stopped right there, just like real life. However, I worked out my ending to the story. I'm a monk with a very, very positive attitude. So what I thought would happen was this. When those mice were chewing it thinner and thinner and thinner, when the snake was stretching more and more and getting closer and closer to his feet, when the tiger was leaning over more and more and getting so close to his hands, the tiger leant a little bit too much. And he fell into the well, broke its neck and crushed the snake to death at the same time. It could happen. Life is full of unexpected things. And so, the man could, with the snake dead and the tiger dead, the man could climb out and go home. Why worry? You never know what's going to happen next. And that is our life. So what mindfulness is, we let go of the past and the future. Who knows what's going to happen? We enjoy the moment. And this is actually what mindfulness does. It empowers your mind to actually enjoy life, to be able to taste the honey. Strange, sometimes people go on holiday. They look forward to going on holiday. Say they come to Australia, they come and visit me. They plan and look forward to coming, and they plan going to the airport. When they're on the plane, they're looking forward to coming to Perth. When they're in Perth, they're missing home, so they're looking forward to coming back again. They never enjoy themselves. They're always 1 or 2 steps ahead of themselves. Now, to show you what I mean here, when you were eating your lunch today, what were you doing? Were you really mindful in the moment? A lot of people, when they eat their lunch, aren't mindful at all. What I mean by that is they got one morsel of food inside their mouth, chewing it. They got another piece of food on their spoon, waiting to go in next. They got another piece heaped up. That's number 3. And they're choosing what's going to be number 4. They're 1 or 2 spoons ahead of themselves. And what you're chewing, you're never really looking. You're looking at what you're going to have next. Now, if you're really mindful, one spoon at a time, one experience at a time, and then you're actually living life. You are mindful. You're alert. You're enjoying this moment instead of rushing to get rid of it. We rush so much to get rid of our moments that sometimes life goes past so quickly. We're 20 years old, 30 years old, 40 years old, 50 years old, and we say, where did it all go? When you're about 30 or 40, you're over the hill. And you know, as you go further down the hill, you pick up speed. Only if you're not mindful. If you're mindful, you tend to slow down and you savor the last moments of your life, which get longer and longer, which you get more and more peaceful. And you're empowering your life with happiness. As you become more still, more mindful, strange things happen. Not only does the food taste more beautiful, but what you see becomes more delightful. This is the experience which happened to me on my first meditation retreat. We were allowed to go on a walk for exercise every morning because our meditation room was very, very small. We were cramped up there. We couldn't do walking meditation, so we had to do it outside in the streets of Cambridge, in a university town about 35 years ago. So I knew that time because I was a student there. So I decided to go to the botanical gardens, which were only about 5 minutes walk away. However, that first morning when I went to the gardens, I only got as far as the entrance. At the entrance was this beautiful clump of bamboo. In fact, it was the most beautiful piece of bamboo I'd ever seen. Its shape, like a bamboo, it's just so slender. It just rises thick at the bottom and it gradually gets more and more slender till it tapers in a bend at the top. It's just so beautiful the way it bent. And the little branches coming off were just so well arranged. And it was like one of those Chinese watercolors, but in real life. And the richness of the colors just blended against the blue sky above. And there was a slight breeze as it swayed like a dancer in the wind. I was captivated by it. I actually stood still, mesmerized by the most beautiful clump of bamboo I'd ever seen. I realized that if anyone saw me, they'd take me away to the hospital. So I sat down on a chair and just spent the whole time I was supposed to be walking, staring at this beautiful piece of bamboo. I had to leave it because it was breakfast time. And so after about 50 minutes of watching this piece of bamboo, I rushed back to breakfast. The next morning I went there again. Same thing happened. For the 9 days of the retreat, 8 mornings, I went and just stood in awe of the most beautiful piece of bamboo in the world. When the retreat was over, when I went back to studies, I had a free afternoon about a week or two later. So I decided, had a free afternoon, I'm going to go and see the most beautiful clump of bamboo in the world, my old friend. So I got on my bicycle. Those of you who've ever been to Cambridge know all the students have bicycles. I got on my bicycle and managed to weave through the heavy traffic and got to that beautiful clump of bamboo, the entrance to the botanical gardens. And there at the gardens, I saw the most pathetic, miserable, dirty, grungy clump of bamboo. The beautiful piece of bamboo had disappeared. There was this grungy one there instead. It was dry, withered, dull, and I wondered what's happened. It was exactly the same tree, but what had happened, because I wasn't meditating anymore, because I just rushed through the Cambridge traffic, because I was stressed out, because I was tired, my mind just couldn't see the beauty anymore. It had closed, and all I saw